What's going on YouTube? JT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, we're going to be talking about Batman Superman World's Finest, issue number 19. This one is, of course, written by Mark Waid, with the art, of course, being done by Travis Moore. Not Dan Moore this time, Travis Moore, very talented artist, kind of like the secondary artist in World's Finest, with Dan Moore kind of being like the main go-to artist within this particular book. But like I said, Travis Moore is also pretty good. I still do prefer the Dan Moore art style. I think it's just kind of the perfect art style for this comic book, but the Dan Moore stuff is quite good. Like I said, if you don't get Dan Moore, then Travis Moore is a good second pick, if you will, and it fits really well with the style. But anyways, so this is like part 2 of the first meeting between Batman and Superman, their first real team up. Again, I mean, comic books have kind of done this countless times, kind of changing it up, if you will, but this is the most new version of that particular team up. So end of the previous issue, we saw this character of Jax who trapped Batman into the Phantom Zone, and he was manipulating Riddler. So like Superman and Batman kind of had to team up. This guy's there, he's laying waste to Superman, if you will, and Batman has to try and find a way out of this, and they have to work together to ultimately stop this guy. And then we can kind of get this 2-part little issue out of the way, and then get prepped for the event that I'm most excited for, which is when they're going to visit the Kingdom Come universe starting in the next story arc. So like I said, this is just kind of a fun little 2-part storyline between Batman and Superman. Is it the strongest that we've seen in this World's Finest book? No, I don't really think so, but it still is pretty good overall. I kind of like some of the callbacks. Like there's one moment where they have to stop the villain, and it feels very reminiscent of Superman 2. At least the theatrical cut of Superman 2, where they basically have to kind of stop the where Superman kind of like hides into the little like glass chamber, if you will, and General Zod kind of loses his powers. There's something kind of like reminiscent of that, if you will, where they kind of trick a villain into doing something so that he kind of like ultimately loses and I guess ends up back in the Phantom Zone. So yeah, he goes off. Superman and Batman are eventually kind of reunited, and they have to like work to stop this guy. Like I said, there's some, back and forth between the two characters. He, one point, goes to the Fortress of Solitude, trying to really kind of hurt the people of Kandor because he's got a vendetta against Krypton. Apparently, he's partially responsible for the destruction of the planet because, he wouldn't let people, because of his, building a ship and leaving the planet and causing the deaths of other people. Krypton was like, no, we can't have that anymore. We can't build ships. People can't leave the planet. Interplanetary travel is pretty much banned in some way as a result of this guy's particular actions. Even when Jor-El tried to build ships for people, they're like, no. So the continued ever-changing history of the destruction of Krypton. We had the whole Rogol-Zar thing from a few years ago with Brian Michael Bendis. I'm the real reason. It's always kind of changing. But you know what? Nobody cares about Rogol-Zar. Remember all the hype behind that? Bendis is coming, and then it just kind of inevitably tanked the Superman sales. Boy, Brian Michael Bendis, what a character. I know John Kent fans will never be a fan of that guy after what he ended up doing with John, but yeah. But anyways, so eventually they're able to stop this guy. There is this mysterious figure that's Alfred kind of meets within the Phantom Zone, because Alfred at one point is there. He's got some sort of strange device, which is a plot thread that's going to pick up, I guess, in 2024's Action Comics. So I think Mark Waid's going to take over Action Comics, at least for a story arc or so, which I'm pretty intrigued to see what he does for it, because he's been doing all these flashback series and not as much in the present day stuff. He did do Batman versus Robin, which, like I said, had its ups and downs. It ended well, but I think most people were just kind of tired of Bruce versus Damian. But at least it was the end of that sort of conflict. Now we're in Batman and Robin. They're on the same page, and but then again, as soon as that happens, the Bat family is at war with each other in Gotham War. So it's we can never just all be on the same page. If they can't all be at peace with Batman. There always has to be one in some sort of conflict. They can't ever just be a fully united family, if you will. But anyways, like I said, they're able to kind of apprehend this guy, and they're able to apprehend Riddler, which did feel kind of easy, because Riddler was more of a focal point in the first issue. Yes, he was manipulated, but he gets captured rather quickly. I honestly wouldn't have minded the story arc to kind of be stretched out to maybe one more issue, because this is supposedly the first team up between Batman and Superman in this current sense of continuity, what Mark Waid's trying to tell. I feel like that deserved a little bit bigger of a storyline than kind of what we had here, if you will. Because like I said, there is some epilogue with that mysterious figure within the Phantom Zone. trying to do something like to free all these people. So I guess it's going to kind of like what they were doing with World's Finest with the whole Devil Nezza thing, which paid off later on in Batman versus Robin with Nezza and all that. We're going to get something like that in here. So at least in 2024's Action Comics. So I actually wouldn't mind Mark Waid kind of taking over Action Comics because of what he's been able to do with Batman and Superman in this whole World's Finest storyline. But yeah, like I said, I still like the two-part story arc just fine. Really like the Travis Moore artwork. I do kind of wish this thing stretched to maybe 3 issues because, like I said, the origin of the World's Finest team, I think it deserved a little bit more than just 2 issues. It felt like it wrapped itself up just a little bit too quickly, if you will. But like I said, it's a good 2-parter, not the best within World's Finest. I feel like we haven't been able to quite reach the peak in this series like we did with that second story arc. Like the first 2 story arcs were amazing, and then we had kind of a little like side issue, like kind of comedic one between Robin and Supergirl's date gone wrong, and then we had the whole like Metal Men storyline, which still was pretty good. Not as strong as the first 2 story arcs, and now we're into this quick 2-parter, and again, still good stuff, still a nice little Batman and Superman storyline, but I'm still waiting for the series to kind of like reach that peak that we had earlier on within like the second story arc, and it seems we're going to be following up what happened in that, so that's the stuff I'm most excited for, to see them go into the Kingdom Come universe, to see like the character who we followed earlier on in the second story arc. Was it like Boy Thunder, or I think it was, I'm trying to remember like what his code name was, but like, what was it, David, who became like the villain Magog from Kingdom Come. So like I said, that's the stuff I'm most interested in exploring going forward. So I'm really looking forward to seeing like next month's issue. Like that's the stuff I'm most excited about. But like I said, if you want just a quick 2-part storyline of Batman and Superman supposedly first team up before inevitably another writer comes in and says, no, this is the real first team up of the World's Finest duo, you can't really go wrong with this thing. I do think the first part was a little bit stronger, and then the resolution of this felt a little bit too quick. But because like I said, this is the story of their first meetup, I feel like it should be just a little bit stronger. Maybe just stretched out, maybe 1 more issue. But again, like I said, it wrapped itself up rather quickly. For some people that works. But for me, like I said, I feel like because I have like higher standards with this series, because the first 2 arcs were just so incredibly good that I feel like, there's still good stuff here, but I kind of want a little bit more to kind of push the envelope. But then again, I feel like I've been spoiled with the first 2 arcs. Like I said, even World's Finest, when it's at its weakest, which I don't think this particular story arc was the weakest in this run, is still pretty good. So it still remains the most consistently good comic book DC has going for it, and that doesn't really change here. So, like I said, if you're a fan of the series, just continue reading it. I think it's pretty good. The Travis Moore artwork looks really nice. And like I said, it's a fun little 2-part story arc. But for the first meeting between Batman and Superman, I think it could have been maybe stretched out to 1 more issue, and just to kind of give it like I think it deserves like a 3-part feel. Because like when I think like first meetings of Batman and Superman that like are iconic, I think back to like, say, Superman the Animated Series when they had that World's Finest thing. Like that, to me, that was an epic like 3-part crossover that really kind of brought these characters together. It was kind of like pitch perfect. So like that to me is like my favorite like first meeting between Batman and Superman. Again, I have fond memories of that series, but like that to me like felt like an epic like reason for these 2 characters to come together. Like this one is quite good. Like I think the first issue was a little bit stronger in this arc than this one, but I just feel like I kind of wanted a little bit more of this first team up, if you will. So, but again, still pretty solid for the first 2 issues for a 2-part storyline. So, but that's just me. But anyways, if you have any thoughts on this issue, let me know in the comment section down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, the bell for notifications. I am officially all caught up with the comic books I've been behind on, just in time for the new issues to drop tomorrow. So look forward to all that stuff. I know I'm excited, and it should be fun. All right, well, that's all I have to say. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.